Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spincast. Today, we're diving back into the great world of collegiate esports. Joining me is Parker PERENTIS. He is the student assistant coach and stand-in head coach of the esports program at Ottawa University. So, Parker, thank you for sitting down with me. First, tell me a little bit about your background, right? How did your journey in esports start and kind of how that took you to where you currently are at Ottawa?
Yeah, of course. I kind of got into esports back my sophomore year of high school. Sophomore year of high school, I was really into watching streamers and stuff. And then my junior year, I got onto an esports club while I was playing basketball and football there, and got into League of Legends. So I started competing in League of Legends, came back from that school back home, and then really got into Call of Duty and streaming. Then became a Call of Duty, played GBs, all like the cups and stuff. I wasn't the best, but then from there I became a coach for COD, and then I went to college actually for basketball at Ottawa. I played college basketball there, got hurt, and then took a year off. And during that time, from about my senior year of high school to till up until like 6 months ago, I was actually the CEO and owner of a team called Senior Origin. So I managed and ran my own professional esports organization. We were in 8 to 9 different esports titles. Then we also did a bunch of content. We went to all these events. It was a great time. And then about right before the school year started, I actually got an offer from Ottawa University to come back from my old basketball coach to join the esports program. And I originally came as a Call of Duty player. Quickly realized that I was pretty good at recruiting because I had gotten a lot of my friends to come, and transitioned quickly to the head Call of Duty coach. And from there, I kind of expanded myself. We won a TESPA event. We won like 3 or 4 tournaments as well, and kind of solidified ourselves as like the best college Call of Duty team. And from there, my director at the time, he kind of helped position me to another role where I became the student assistant coach, where I oversaw every esport and all the recruiting aspects. So I was in charge of recruiting. I still am in charge of recruiting. I handle that my day to day. And then I handle all of making sure all of our teams are competing, that we're in competitions, that we're signed up for stuff, and that everything's running smoothly, basically. And luckily, I have a really good and supportive school that helps me with that. Ottawa is one of the few schools who really actually supports esports. We're a full varsity sport. We're the same as the football or basketball team there. We're given scholarships. We win a lot of tournaments. We have very high competitive teams. So it's definitely a different atmosphere than some colleges where they're a club or they're just doing it for fun. We take it very serious there, and our school is very supportive of that, and they also take it very serious.
Awesome. That's fantastic to hear because like you said, there's not a lot of universities or colleges across the nation that really, give that support, whether that's in the form of dollars or, personnel or man hours or a facility or any kind of equipment. Like you just don't see a lot of it, right? It's kind of sprinkled here and there. There might be a scholarship, but no arena, so on and so forth, right? So that's awesome that they have that support because that just gives you more room for growth to continue your success and expand into more titles. But kind of focusing more on the players, our audience is obviously a lot of high school kids that are looking to play collegiately, right? So take me through kind of what a day in the life of a collegiate esports athlete is. What does practice look like? What do games look like? Kind of give me that snapshot of what that day-to-day looks like.
Well, until COVID hit, actually, we treated it kind of like a football or basketball routine where up until COVID, now we don't do some of the stuff in there. Like in the morning, we would wake up, we'd go for a run and then do weightlifting in the gym with a trainer. We've since cut that out because of COVID, just because it takes a little bit of a risk. And then, of course, we have our breakfast on campus where all of our athletes go, and we sit together, we eat. From there, we go to our classes. You have classes from anywhere from 7 a.m. to sometimes 2 p.m. A lot of I know our Call of Duty players try to get out a little bit earlier for their Path to Pro scrims. And then we have our arena where everyone meets. We have a players lounge there where people eat their meals, they do their homework, they do their online classes there. And we're very fortunate. We have a very nice arena. Our school dumped $2 million into it last year, and we're about 8% done with our everything we're trying to do with it. So it's very fastly expanding. We're getting like a whole new space. We have a full stage, full production crew. We have $2 million valued worth of equipment for our production. So when the kids come in, they either are going to go practice for their scrims around 11-ish. um, or they're going to set up for like production stuff. Like we have a stream that night with like a competition. Our production crew gets in there pretty early. They set up all the cameras. They have quite a bit. They have like 5 or 6 cameras they got to set up. They got to set up all the microphones, and then they got to set up all the face cams and the PCs. Um, and so after that, we practice from either our official practice time after their scrims, because we want them to compete in their professional scene to take that next step to the next level. So after they finish those practices, Mondays and Tuesdays they have free days, and then Wednesday through Sunday, Wednesday through Friday we get in at 4:30. Our official practice starts. They go through all their practice stuff, and if they have a competition, they compete at night. We go usually till 11 o'clock, and then on weekends it's 2:30 and 1:30. They come in, and it's the same routine. You come in and do your practice. We actually use what's called AIM Lab. It kind of blew up this year, so we can track analytics on that. We're very lucky to have Aaron Clyde in there at Ottawa. He's our production and our analytics guy right now. And he helps set up all these accounts for them, and then we track their data to see production. And so like even our Call of Duty players who are on controller actually use AIM Lab, and it's pretty fun to watch, and it's really cool to see their improvement. So they're in there working 10 hours plus a day. So it's pretty impressive to see. A lot of people think we just go in there and have fun, but it's very strenuous. There's not a lot of free time that they have. So they got to stay on top of their schoolwork while staying on top of their practice regimen and compete at the highest level.
Absolutely. And that's so important, right? It's that balance, right? Of making sure that schoolwork's being done, excuse me, as well as the practice and the analytics and the production and everything, right? It's so important to have all of those pieces present rather than just hyper focusing on one and kind of falling behind others. But that's awesome. Sounds like you have a fantastic program. Sounds like I kind of want to come to the arena and check everything out. I mean, $2 million in equipment, that sounds like Candyland.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of our production guys love it. We have all the same stuff. If you would watch like a League of Legends event at like a Staples Center or something, we have all the same equipment they use. We have the black box, the magic, everything. It's quite impressive. I don't know how to use a lot of it. Luckily, we have Aaron who's vastly trained in this stuff, but everyone who comes to our school for production on a production scholarship seems to enjoy it, and every time we stream, everybody seems to have a great time. So it's really impressive that the school has provided that for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely love to hear that, because that's just so important, right? Even more opportunities in the esports realm, because at the end of the day, not everyone's good enough to play, but having the production crew, having the casting crew, having the analytics crew, having, guys like you that were almost a really good player and then went to that coaching role, right? It's so awesome to see all of that kind of in one place. An interesting thing that you brought up was scrimming in this path to pro, right? And there's kind of this concept in esports where like, you don't really go to college to go pro, right? Like you see in football, basketball, or baseball. Which, it's depending on the title, of course, you got 15, 16-year-olds playing professionally. And you got, kids that are actually going to college, getting an education, and then going pro or being recruited professionally while they're at college. So take me through kind of your vision of looking into the future of where that pathway may lie. Do you see it going where more students are kind of coming through college and then being recruited like football, basketball, or kind of staying kind of where it is, where it's a whole kind of mosh posh?
Yeah, for sure. I think it kind of depends on the esport. I know for like Call of Duty, the path to pro scene doesn't really go through college, and college is considered like a lower tier. We're very fortunate to have Tyler Bailey and Kevin Bonanno at Ottawa Fame and Noisy, who are very top level AM players, who both I could see in the pro league by the end of this year. They might be leaving Ottawa midway through the year to go be on a pro team. So we've had that experience. We have a pro coach actually for our Valorant and CSGO team from Germany. And we work with a lot of high-level MDL and high-level Valorant players as well. And I can definitely see it maybe starting to go more college with an esport like that, or a League of Legends, or an Overwatch. I mean, you saw directly with Maryville recently where they had 2 players go to the Pro League for League of Legends. So I definitely think there's starting to slowly be a shift. I don't think it'll eventually ever get 100% there. I think the amateur scene will still dominate in that regard, just because there's money opportunities along with that more opportunities, I think. But I definitely think that we're going to see a major shift towards colleges being looked at as like another source of recruiting, another source of scouting, where these players can be picked from to go straight to the pro league. I think Maryville and Clerkey are doing a great job of that. And there's some people that I definitely look to when I'm setting up our program and helping our players get to that next level. So I definitely see there's slowly being a shift. I don't think it'll ever 100% be like college basketball where you have to play and then you go to the pro, but I definitely think that it will start becoming more of a relevant thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I never see it being concrete like it is for football, where you have to go play collegiately, right? But at the same time, I do see, like you said, transitioning to where you see a lot of players kind of go in college. Because the great thing about esports is really, until in the NCAA comes in, if they ever do, or something like them where they have restrictions, you can play amateur at the same time you're playing college, right? You can
Exactly.
still play in tournaments on a Wednesday night with your college team if you want, and for some extra cash. Or bigger prize pools if you're good enough, and still be getting education, still be getting looks kind of everywhere, right? Kind of the
Right.
best of both worlds.
And that's definitely the vision that Ottawa pitches to kids when we have them come here. We're like, hey, we want you to be involved with this path to pro, your challenger scene, whatever they call it in their
Hmm.
respective field. Because currently there is no governing body for esports. I mean, Ottawa is also one of the few schools that'll have an official athletic conference next year with the KCAC. So we're very fortunate to be there. So we have a few restrictions in that regard, but like our kids are still able to make prize pool money. They're still able to win stuff. They're able to go to lands and keep that reward, which I think is the biggest enticing factor of college for kids right now, because there's this untapped potential of income that a lot of these players aren't seeing. I know TESPA was $1,000 each for the
Hmm.
last Call of Duty event. I know the Overwatch scene for TESPA is huge as well. That's just free money these kids can win and put towards school, put towards whatever they want. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of high level players slowly start looking at college as a very good possibility. And we're seeing a major growth of skill in the field right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree on all of that. This topic keeps coming up, but I want to touch on it was recruiting, right? So take me through your recruiting process of how, you go out and find that talent, whether they're high schoolers or collegiate transfers, to come to Ottawa to compete for y'all.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough where I kind of came from the amateur scene and I knew a lot of people coming in. So it gave me a kind of a nice background to work with. I know it's not that way for a lot of people yet, but I kind of had a good sense of what the market was, what players were out there, and what I wanted to bring to Ottawa. Um, but when I don't, I have a very, very supportive staff, and there's lots of resources out there as well. Like we use Liquidpedia, COD Gamepedia, all different sources to kind of check these kids out and see what's good, what's going to be effective for these kids, and who the best players are. In the case of Noisy, he was someone we targeted out of the University of North Texas. He was someone that was on our radar from the beginning that we really wanted, and we went out, and since they don't have an official esports program, we were able to give him an offer because he was just playing for the school as a club. And we were like, hey, man, we want you to come to Ottawa. We want you to finish your collegiate career. And we just reached out directly to him over social media, and we're able to find a way to get him to Ottawa. And it's like that with many kids. And I'm not the only one who recruits for Ottawa. We have a guy named Beach, Derek, who handles a lot of our Overwatch, our CS:GO, Valorant. We have Scott Wilson, who's our director of recruiting. He handles like all of our spreadsheets that track where they are in the process. We track their skill level, what their offer is going to be. So I have a very, very talented team of kids and other students with me that are working their butts off to be the best recruiting class. I definitely think our incoming class will have over 30 plus kids coming on esports scholarship, whether it's for production, social media, being a coach, Call of Duty, other video games, just coming in to be a part of the program. And not a lot of schools have that opportunity where you can do whatever you want when you come there for esports. We have so many different things. Like we have kids coming from the lacrosse team or volleyball team to come be a part of the esports team as well, which is really cool. And I think that as a whole is what's driving recruiting for me, is finding that passion of helping kids get that college degree and help them find avenues to keep doing what they love while they're chasing that piece of paper, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say this is there's nothing more beautiful than like waking up and wanting to go do work, right?
Right.
Whether that's practice in competitive esports or going and producing a stream, right? Technically, that's all some level of work, but at the same time, if you love it, is it really work, right? It's always that
Right.
kind of old saying. But at the end of the day, I wake up, I love my job, I want to be at work, right? And that's awesome if these kids can get it, especially on scholarship where they're getting a free education or a heavily reduced cost education, because we know those costs are through the roof these days. So it's awesome that they can do that in gaming and production, casting, esports, and all the other positions. So that's incredible. Before we run out of time here, I always kind of end with this last question of looking at the broad scene of esports in general, not just collegiate. Obviously super big, growing super fast, a ton of money pouring into it from an investing standpoint. but it's not quite caught on in a mainstream sense, right? You still ask a lot of people that aren't involved in it, they're like, what's esports? Gaming? What is that, right? All those kind of crazy things that annoy us as esports people. Take me through what you think either needs to change or be improved on, or just something that hasn't been created yet to really kind of get that mainstream audience to buy in. So when it's Super Bowl Sunday for League of Legends, for Worlds, or any other title, the whole world is watching, right? You have massive viewership from just the entire world, that mainstream approach, rather than just kind of within the esports community or closely related to it.
Yeah, I'm going to take a page out of Max Wood, who was formerly the head coach at Ottawa. He's now at Converse University. He had the opportunity to work in like Vietnam, Shangri-La, and other countries where he was able to see that culture where it's very different. Over in Asia, it's a mainstream thing there, and it's North America that really needs to catch up right now. And I think a lot of it's just how serious the players take it. I think there's a lack of effort and focus currently in North America with how we treat die for an opportunity these kids are getting where they could come over to America and pursue their passion while getting a degree. So I think that's the biggest thing that needs to change. I know Max and I have talked about this a lot, where it's not just a main focus yet. There's other things in the way. There's mental things in the way, and it's not a main priority yet, I think, for these kids. And I think they just need to take it a little bit more serious, whether it be showing up to scrims on time, doing better in school, putting in those extra hours. I think there's a lot of a room for improvement on that. And I think if people on the outside see that extra work going in and that extra time and effort, that they'll start taking it serious as well. As we've seen at Ottawa, we have a lot of supporting parents who are never involved in esports. When you come to one of our streams, you'll see all the moms in the chat, all the dads having a great time watching their kids compete because they know they're taking it serious. I think if North America takes that a lot more serious and doesn't take what we have lightly, I think North American esports and the outside perception of esports is going to change dramatically.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with you on any of those points. Absolutely. Very well said. Totally agree. I just can't wait for all of this to happen so we can really kind of get everyone bought in, where we kind of remove some of that stigma, right? Because that negative stuff really isn't true at all, right? It's just kind of a media, fake news, for lack of a better word. But unfortunately, we are out of time. Had a fantastic conversation with you, Parker, on a number of different things in esports. Obviously, very well versed and very well experienced in this space at the collegiate level and more. Real quickly, though, tell me where we can find more about Ottawa University or yourself. Any Twitters, Twitches, YouTubes, where any of the players in our program can kind of reach out to y'all as well if they're interested in attending Ottawa.
Yeah, of course. You can always reach out to me. It's at Lord Punked on Twitter, LORDPUNKD. And then Ottawa, you can reach out to us at esports_Ottawa. Our social media team is always sending people to their direct coaches so they can get in contact. We love interacting with the people in the community. We love bringing more people into the space. So you can find me at my Twitter. And then you can find us at Esports Ottawa, and then our Discord and everything. So if you want to be more involved with us, is in our bio of our Twitter as well, and that'll lead you to we also have our link tree in there, where you can find our Instagram and all of our pages on the internet about us.
Awesome. Definitely everyone go out there and check them out. They have a fantastic program. You don't even have to be, an esports expert or a great player. You can go for production and casting, which is more the merrier, right? So absolutely, once again, thank you for sitting down with me on Spincast. To our viewers and listeners, thanks for sticking around the entire time. Stay healthy and stay happy out there. We were talking about COVID before we fired up the recording. Obviously still a thing. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and ultimately, stay plugged in.